Welcome back. All right, some more news of the day for all you fine people on the internet for your Friday, January 31st, and a preview for February 1st tomorrow. According to the weather forecast, I may or may not be on the set by Sunday. As in, by Sunday, it might be too cold for me to be in here. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. We didn't get it. This time, it definitely looks like we're going to. So just throwing that out there. All right, so into the news we go. Brandon Saad has signed with Vegas. Why didn't I just say Vegas? Why didn't I just say this guy's being bought out? He's going to Vegas. Sure enough, Brandon Saad's in Vegas. It is a $1.5 million cap hit, but the actual cash that Vegas is paying out, $601,000. So that eats up the rest of the cap space they had available. Saad can play a support role in Vegas. He won't have the same pressure to score that he might have had in St. Louis. I think it's a good pick for him, and it's a good pick for St. Louis. It's a low-cost, almost no-risk pickup. And, yeah, for Vegas, I think this could work out well in their favor. Let me know your thoughts regarding this in the comment section below. The New York Islanders could not resist grabbing Adam Boqvist. So, one thing I've said about the Islanders is that they do lack offensively minded defensemen outside of Noah Dobson. Now, they picked up Tony DeAngelo. Now they've claimed Adam Boqvist. These are both defensemen that are offense first. So, yeah, the New York Islanders definitely trying to fix that issue and do it in a cheap manner without having to go out and make trades for it. Boqvist, I don't know. I don't know what we'll see from Boqvist. I've been high on his game at times. At other times, I totally get why he's been a healthy scratch as often as he has. We'll see how things work out with the Islanders. Maybe it'll be just fine. Hamon Octel is on waivers for the Washington Capitals for contract termination. So my guess is probably headed overseas to play. But Hamon Octel, I don't think we've seen him with Washington at all this year. I know we've seen him, I want to say last year and the year before at times. But depth forward, and we'll see where he ends up once this termination has gone through. The NHL, they did it today. They actually released the quarter century team for Utah. Yeah, let that sink in. Quarter century team for Utah. So, I mean, I'm doing a quarter century series. I'm not intending to do Utah specifically. I'll kind of meld Utah and Arizona, which the NHL's not doing because, of course, they're treating Utah like it's a brand new franchise and all that. But it's kind of odd, isn't it? Anyways, so yeah, their quarter century team released, and it's basically just their top players right now because that's what you get. Yanni Gourde had sports hernia surgery. He is out for 5 to 7 weeks. Gourde is on an expiring contract. There was discussions about him potentially being traded before the deadline. We'll see what kind of wrinkle this presents because I believe the deadline's on March the 7th, and if it's 7 weeks, he's going to be out. Maybe he gets traded while he's still injured, but that is unusual in the National Hockey League, so we'll see what happens there. But all the best to him in his recovery. Hernias are very painful, so yeah, all the best to him. Miro Heiskanen, Jim Nill revealing that Miro's going to see a specialist on Monday. We'll have a better idea for how long he's going to be out, although the team is expecting him back in time for the playoffs. He, of course, was injured in that controversial play involving Mark Stone. And so hopefully Heiskanen's not out for that long, but we shall see. If he does return for the playoffs and if they're without Sagan for a long time, at the very least, if they put both on LTIR, it does free up a lot of money for Dallas, and then everybody gets mad if Dallas decides to use said money. All right, into the preview portion of the video we go. 9 games tomorrow in the National Hockey League, and it's a pretty full day-ish, but it's still kind of light by National Hockey League standards for a Saturday. We've got one game at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then 2.5 hours later, we've got a second game, although it's a doubleheader. I believe it's an ESPN Plus doubleheader, meaning this game will not start at the posted time because there's only 2.5 hours between games, meaning the puck drops closer to 3 hours. I have said this multiple times, and I know people say, well, this is just how they do it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense because you're going to have more than 2.5 hour long games frequently. So why don't they do it just the way that most of it's been done in Canada for ages, which is you have 3 hours between the start times. You have a 4-hour start for the early game, 7 hours, there's 7 o'clock start for the late game, and that's Western Pacific time I'm talking about, as most of the games are scheduled, so it's just weird. But yeah, so Chicago 16-30-5 on the season, 2-5-3 in their last 10, but they do give you an honest effort every night. Florida 30-19-3 overall, they're 5-4-1 in their last 10. Florida's had their struggles recently. We'll see how things go in this one. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific start between the New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins. The Rangers 24-22-4 on the season. 6-2-2 in their last 10, but they've been struggling since their 10-game point streak ended. So we'll see how this one goes against Boston, who've been struggling recently too. 25-22-6 record, 5-4-1 over their last 10 games. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific is when everything else gets started. So there will be how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games starting then, and then a 7th game starting late, and that'll be the only game on at that point in time. So I'll do a review video for these 2 games, and then the other 7 will get its own review later in the day. So starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, we have the Minnesota Wild in against Ottawa. This should be fun. Minnesota 31-17-4 overall. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Ottawa's 27-20-4 overall. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. Ottawa seems to be playing the right way right now. They got past the back-to-back shutouts, and since then they've been pretty good, so we'll see what happens in this one. Minnesota coming off a shutout victory of their own. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the Islanders and Tampa. The Islanders 23-20-7 overall. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won, 6 in a row now? It's a lot. The Tampa Bay Lightning 27-20-3 overall. They're 5-5 in their last 10. The Islanders looking to pull themselves a little bit closer to Tampa, who find themselves now in this perilous position where maybe their playoff fate might not be as set as it looked about a month ago, where they looked pretty comfortably in a top 3 spot. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Nashville and Pittsburgh. Nashville 18-24-7. They're playing in Buffalo tonight, so that record obviously will change with tonight's result, as will the fact they're 6-4 in their last 10. Pittsburgh 21-24-8 overall. They're 3-7 in their last 10. They need to string some wins together. If Pittsburgh's really going to get back into the chase, they have to string together, I'll say, like 6 wins in a row would be needed for them. The same number as the Islanders would get Pittsburgh back into the chase. It does get more and more daunting as the season goes on. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Winnipeg and Washington. The battle for first on the power rankings? Maybe. I'm not giving that up. Winnipeg 36-14-3. It's tomorrow, so why would I give that up? Although you guys don't get to see it till Sunday morning. But Winnipeg 8-2 in their last 10. The Capitals 34-11-6 overall. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10. So both teams are playing well. They play completely different styles of hockey. Should be a very entertaining one between the Jets and the Caps. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the LA Kings and the Carolina Hurricanes. 2 teams going in very opposite directions. The Kings are 26-17-6 overall. They're 2-7-1 in their last 10, as I documented in a video on the Kings earlier today. Carolina 32-16-4 overall. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10. They're doing quite well. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start, and this is the game that I know everybody's going to be really excited about, and that is Toronto in Edmonton against the Oilers. When Toronto makes their visits out west, you tend to hear crowds kind of drawn towards cheering for Toronto at times. We'll see how it turns out. Toronto 30-19-2 on the season. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Edmonton 32-15-4 overall. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. So, yeah, both of them very much followed in Canada. Toronto, though, has had their struggles recently. Who knows? Maybe a game against Edmonton really gets things going for them. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific start between Detroit and Calgary. So the Wings coming off that big win in Edmonton. They'll try to do the same in Calgary. The Wings 25-21-5 overall. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10 games. The Calgary Flames 25-16-7. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Maybe it's a chance to get Febryary and Frost in the lineup and see what Calgary can do there. So that game will have my undivided attention. Should be quite entertaining. Let me know your picks in the comment section below, as always. Let me know your thoughts regarding the news of the day as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support, as always. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, please do. I will talk to you again soon.